Hello everyone. In the quiet corners of destiny, Tu Diem carried within her a deep gratitude, a silent tenderness that moved Toan's heart as though it had been touched by the purest form of motherly love. Her presence was not just a reminder of survival, but of kindness, sacrifice, and the gentle strength that lingers in the soul. Yet, love is never simple. Toan now stands at a crossroads. Will he remain bound to his family, with all its weight and expectations? Or will he choose the girl who once saved his life, the one whose love became his light in the darkest nights? The rain had just ended when Tu Diem stepped out of the quiet house, her weak body still trembling from illness. The world outside looked fresh and alive, yet her heart was restless. She had never imagined that fate would bring her into the home of Toan, the man whose life she once saved in the forest. His warmth, his determination to protect her, and the gentle kindness in his eyes made her feel, for the first time, that perhaps she was not alone in this world. But Diem's past still haunted her. The cruelty of her former family, the wounds of betrayal, and the endless fear of being sold and abandoned left scars that even Toan's affection could not erase overnight. She often told herself she was not worthy of his world. He was a wealthy CEO, a man respected by many, while she was just a broken woman running from her own shadows. Yet Toan did not care for titles or wealth when it came to her. Every gesture he gave, from the way he quietly placed medicine by her bedside to the way he stood up against her persecutors, showed that his heart had chosen her long before he even realized it himself. His mother, however, remained cautious. A mother's love is often protective, sometimes harsh. She worried that Tu Diem would only bring pain and scandal into Toan's life. And so, within the walls of that beautiful house, a silent storm was brewing. Family duty against heartfelt gratitude, bloodline against destiny. Tu Diem felt torn. She longed for a place where she could belong, a mother's embrace she had never known. Toan's mother's stern eyes frightened her, yet deep within, she sensed a seed of compassion waiting to bloom. Perhaps, if given time, her sincerity and gratitude would soften even the hardest heart. As night fell, Toan stood by the balcony, looking at the city lights while his mind raced. Should he follow the path his family expected, protecting his name, his fortune, his honor, or should he take the hand of the girl who had saved his life, who had endured endless suffering, yet still looked at him with a heart full of quiet strength? The choice was not easy. Family or love, duty or destiny. And in that fragile silence, Toan realized something. Love born from gratitude and kindness could heal wounds that money and power never could. But would his mother's heart accept it? Would she see Tu Diem not as a burden, but as the daughter she never knew she needed? The answer was yet to come. The days in Toan's household grew heavier with silence. The air carried an unspoken tension between loyalty to family and the heart's undeniable calling. Diem, though weak in body, began to help quietly around the house. She swept the yard, cooked small meals, and always bowed her head with gratitude when Toan's mother offered her even the simplest kindness. Each act of humility touched something deep inside the woman's heart, though her pride refused to admit it. One evening, when the rain tapped softly on the windows, Diem knelt before Toan's mother. Her voice trembled, yet carried a quiet strength. "Madam, I owe your son my life. He saved me when the world had turned its back. If my presence causes unrest in this house, I will leave. But please know, I carry nothing but respect and gratitude for you." Her words pierced through the walls of doubt, like a fragile candle flickering in the dark. For a long moment, the older woman said nothing. Toan stood nearby, his fists clenched, torn between speaking for Diem and letting his mother's silence decide. Finally, Toan's mother sighed. Her eyes, once sharp with suspicion, softened with something closer to sorrow. "You remind me of myself. Many years ago," she whispered. "Poor, unwanted, struggling to be heard. Perhaps I was too harsh." Toan's heart stirred at those words. He stepped closer, his voice firm yet pleading. "Mother, this girl saved me when no one else could. She risked her life, her future. For me. If you cannot accept her as part of this family, then I must choose her, because walking away from Diem would be betraying my own soul." The room froze. The choice Toan dreaded had finally been spoken aloud. Would the bond of blood tighten its hold on him more? Would love break those chains? The room grew silent after Diem's words, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Toan felt the weight of her gratitude, but also the pain hidden beneath it. He looked at her fragile figure, the girl who had risked everything to save him, and his heart tightened with both admiration and sorrow. "Diem," he said softly, stepping closer, "you don't have to repay me with gratitude. What you gave me in that forest was not just life, it was hope. I cannot forget that." But Diem lowered her gaze, her voice trembling. "Toan, your family gave me shelter when I was lost. Your mother defended me when I had no voice. I cannot be the reason you are torn apart from them. I should leave before I cause more pain." Those words struck Toan deeply. He had spent years building his empire, fighting battles in business, yet none of those challenges compared to the storm raging inside him now. For the first time, he feared losing not wealth, not status, but love. That evening, Toan's mother called him aside. Her voice was calm, but her eyes revealed a storm of emotions. "Toan," she said, "I see how much this girl means to you, but think carefully. Family is forever. Can you risk dividing us for someone who appeared suddenly in your life?" Toan clenched his fists, caught between duty and desire. "Mother, I will never stop being your son. But if I turn my back on Diem, I will no longer be the man you raised me to be. You taught me kindness. You taught me to protect the weak. How can I abandon her now?" His mother fell silent. For a long moment, she simply stared at her son, torn between fear of losing him and admiration for his courage. Meanwhile, Diem quietly packed her few belongings. She looked around the room one last time, tears welling in her eyes. She whispered to herself, "Better to leave now, before I destroy the only happiness Toan has." But just as she stepped toward the door, Toan appeared, his voice steady yet full of desperation. "If you walk away now, Diem, you won't just leave this house, you'll take my heart with you. Do you want me to live without it?" Diem froze, trembling. The decision she had tried so hard to make crumbled in that moment. Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "Toan, I don't know if I deserve you." He stepped closer, gently taking her hand. "You don't have to deserve love, Diem, you only have to accept it." At that instant, the question loomed larger than ever. Would Toan's choice of love be enough to heal the rift with his family, or would fate demand an even greater sacrifice? The night stretched long, carrying with it the weight of unspoken fears and hopes. Tu Diem sat quietly in the corner of Toan's living room, her hands gently clasped together, as though she was afraid to disturb the fragile peace that had settled in the house. Her heart was full of gratitude toward Toan's mother, who, despite her stern nature, had shown her a kind of acceptance she had never dreamed of receiving. It felt as though the warmth of true motherly love had touched her soul for the first time. Toan, on the other hand, carried a storm within him. He paced back and forth near the window, torn between the two forces pulling at his heart. His mother, his anchor, the one who raised him with sacrifice and strength now, looked at him with expectations of loyalty. And then there was Tu Diem, the fragile yet resilient girl who had risked her life to save him. The one who awakened a gentleness in him he never thought existed. Tu Diem. Toan finally spoke, his voice heavy but tender. "Do you know what you've done to me? You saved me, yes, but more than that. You've made me question everything I thought I knew about life and love." Tu Diem lowered her gaze, her lashes trembling. "Toan, please don't say such things. I don't want to stand between you and your family. Your mother has every right to protect you. I am just someone who happened to be there when fate willed it." But Toan stepped closer, his hands gently lifting her chin so she would look into his eyes. "No, Diem, you are not just someone. You're the reason I'm still breathing, the reason I can stand here and argue with my own heart. Don't belittle what you mean to me." At that moment, Toan's mother entered the room. Her eyes softened as she looked at Tu Diem, but turned sharp when they met her son's. Toan, she said firmly, you are my only child. Everything I have built, everything I have protected it, has always been for you. Are you going to throw it away for this girl? Think carefully. Gratitude and love are not the same. Do not confuse them. The silence that followed was suffocating. Tu Diem's heart broke hearing those words, for she knew the truth in them. Gratitude had indeed brought her closer to Toan. But love was more complicated, and it demanded sacrifices she wasn't sure she deserved to ask for. Toan stood tall, his chest rising and falling as he struggled with the weight of the choice. He looked at his mother, the woman who had given him everything, and then at Tu Diem, the girl who had given him a second chance at life. And in that moment, he realized that no matter what path he chose, someone he deeply cared about would suffer. The night carried no answers, only the heavy question that lingered in the air: would Toan choose the duty of a son, or the calling of his heart? In life, there will always come moments when we are forced to choose between what is familiar and what feels right. Toan's story is not simply about wealth, power, or family expectations. It is about the courage to listen to the heart when the mind is clouded by doubt. Tu Diem's kindness, her resilience despite suffering, and her quiet gratitude awakened in Toan a deeper understanding of love. It was not the grand gestures of luxury that mattered, but the sincerity of two souls meeting in hardship and standing together against the storms of life. From this, we learn that true love often demands sacrifice. Choosing the one who saved your life, the one who stands with you in your darkest hour, is not an act of rebellion. It is an act of loyalty to the truth of your own heart. At the same time, family love must not be ignored. Sometimes it takes patience, tenderness, and understanding to help others see the value of the person we cherish. The greatest lesson is this: love is not possession, nor is it pride. Love is protection, forgiveness, and the willingness to walk beside someone despite obstacles. Toan and Tu Diem remind us that gratitude can turn into love, and love, when nurtured with kindness, has the power to heal not just a people, but an entire family.